Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I don't know how I feel about that. Hey everyone, today we are going to be talking about travel, specifically Turkey. This was one of the most unforgettable trips I have ever done. It was the very first big overseas trip I ever did. It was the fall of 2020, which makes it memorable in and of itself. And so I wanted to share my top 10 things to see or do when traveling in Turkey. Let's dive right in. The first thing on this list is to visit the Hagia Sophia and the Blue Mosque in Istanbul. These mosques are absolutely stunning inside and out. They are massive and gorgeous, and you definitely don't want to miss them. We just took a taxi from our hotel in Istanbul, and we were actually greeted by a guide who was ready to take us around the mosques. I'll get into a little bit more about how to navigate and potentially negotiate with guides like this in my tips at the end of the video, so please stay tuned. But all in all, these mosques are definitely a must-see. They're beautiful on the outside, and there's lots of places around the city where you can get a really nice view of the domes. The Blue Mosque has a beautiful blue dome, and the property of each of them is just absolutely beautiful, and going inside is just so serene, so majestic, and so meaningful. So I wanted to start off with that. They're definitely top ranked if you look online anywhere about what to do with in Turkey. I'm sure you'll find those, and they're definitely worth a mention. Also in Istanbul is to visit the Grand Bazaar. This is a classic Middle Eastern market. It is huge and it is so beautiful. It's definitely a must-see, especially if you've never been to a market like that before. There's vendors with huge displays of spices and herbs and candies, Turkish delights, of course, and so many really cool artifacts, rugs, everything you could imagine is in this market, old and new, and it is really, really beautiful to see. The one thing I'll say about walking through the bazaar or any market of this kind is just be prepared for the vendors to be calling out to you and trying to get you into their shop. Hey, they've got to make a living, right? Just keep that in mind. If you're looking for something, then of course stop and speak to anyone. But if you're not looking to buy anything, just be clear. I would recommend being quick, keep it moving. If you want to see the whole place, it's going to take a long time if you are stopping and chatting with every vendor. Pretty much across the board for any market like that. If you've been to one before, you know the drill. Next, I want to recommend Taksim Square, which is kind of like Istanbul's Times Square. It's a bit more modern part of the city. There's a lot of restaurants and shopping, and just overall it's really lively, especially when we were traveling there. Again, it was the fall of 2020, so a lot of places weren't super busy, not everywhere was open, but this place was still really, really lively. And of course it's a little touristy. When you're a tourist, do touristy things. I am all for that. And so I think this place is really worth checking out. There's a lot of famous restaurants in the area, so depending on what you're looking for, you'll definitely find it there. It's a good mix of local vendors, big name stores, restaurants, little food shops, tourists, locals alike, just all milling about. There's a lot of streets that are blocked off to cars, so it's just pedestrians, which is really nice to just be able to walk around and explore. Number 4 is to eat Turkish börek. It is so delicious. It's a pastry, and it's filled with either cheese or spinach or both, or meat or potatoes. There is a wide array of fillings that you can find. A lot of places in this region, specifically the Balkans, have a dish very similar to this, and they go by similar but slightly different names. I do believe it originated in Turkey, and so it's a perfect place to try it, and it's to die for. It's the perfect snack or lunch or anything. You can grab it on the go. It's super delicious. It's probably my favorite type of food, like, you know, a type of dough with filling. You can't go wrong, in my opinion. All right, so for number 5, we're going to move to a different region. So on our trip, we started in Istanbul and our next stop was Cappadocia. Cappadocia is absolutely so beautiful, and so the first tip for this is to stay in a cave hotel. The majority, if not all, accommodations in Cappadocia are going to be some version of a cave hotel, so find whatever place feels right to you. But I do feel like this is such a special experience for this region, where the rooms and the different areas of the hotel are just built into the cave, and it's magical. Cappadocia was just so magical. We stayed at this place called the Kelebek Special Cave Hotel, and Kelebek means butterfly in Turkish, which I love, and it was so wonderful. The staff was so amazing. The property was gorgeous. There were furry friends everywhere, cats and dogs, which I love about traveling. So many other countries just have cats and dogs everywhere, all over the street, and especially when they're at little hotels like this, and you know they're well taken care of and they're so friendly. It feels so cozy. Number 6, also in Cappadocia. This, if I was ranking things, this would likely be number 1. Take a sunrise hot air balloon tour. It is one of the most magical experiences I have ever had. Now, pro tip for this: if you are able to stay in Cappadocia for multiple days, which I definitely recommend, there's a lot to do and it's just so beautiful to be there. Book your hot air balloon on the first morning that you can, so that worst case scenario, if there is bad weather like strong winds where they can't put the balloons up that morning, you'll at least have another chance while you're still there. And if all goes well and you go up in the balloon on your first morning, then the next morning wake up just as early, maybe a little bit later, but wake up for the sunrise. Find a cozy spot at your hotel. I guarantee there'll be a perfect deck to do this at any hotel you choose, and watch the hot air balloons float from your hotel. So we did it in that order. We did the balloons on the first morning, and then the next morning we woke up to watch them, and honestly it was like just as magical. It was so beautiful to see it from a different vantage point, having been up in the air the day before, and our hotel was so cozy. We had a perfect little table and we just watched all the balloons float down into the valley and around, and magic all around. We booked our tour through a company whose website is quite literally hotairballooncappadocia.com. So you can't go wrong, and I definitely would recommend them. It was all great. I'm sure there's multiple companies, and I'm more than positive they're all going to be just as wonderful. They picked us up at our hotel really early in the morning, drove us to the spot where we actually got to watch the balloons get inflated, which was really cool. And then eventually we got in the basket with our group and we were off. Number 7 is to hike the Pigeon Valley Trail up to Uchisar Castle. So the hotel that we stayed in was in the town of Gorum, and Uchisar is close by. So we were actually able to walk right from our hotel, find the trailhead for the Pigeon Valley Trail, and walk all the way to Uchisar and then up into Uchisar Castle. So this trail was really, really beautiful. Cappadocia was one of the first places I'd ever been that was super deserty, and so I was just amazed by the environment at every turn. I just thought it was so fascinating. You know, since then, in the last few years, I've been to a lot of different types of places, but at that point, like, I was just so mesmerized by like the different vegetation in the desert and the different like rocks and cliffs, and you get the idea. So this trail was really cool. There are these like rock formations called fairy chimneys, and they're all over the region of Cappadocia. You got a really cool view of them in the balloon, but the hike had also different versions of those types of structures. Make sure you wear some good shoes, have a hat and sunglasses, wear plenty of sunscreen. There is not a lot of shade, and bring plenty of water, especially if you're there during a hot time. We were there in September and it was very hot. I also recommend that you look up a few like detailed, either other people making videos or blogs explaining the hike and taking note of any landmarks, trail markers, directions, etc. There's a lot of people that will go into a lot of detail, and it is worth following their guidance. We definitely got lost a couple times where we had, debated which way the trail went one way, and realized fairly shortly that it was the wrong way, and we're able to retrace our steps and find the trail. It was never a really big deal, but I would just definitely keep that in mind. Number 8, more food. Eat manti. Turkish manti is these, I want to describe it as like ravioli or tortellini is the most similar. I do believe they call them dumplings. It is thinner than pasta, like the casing, wrapping, I don't know. But they're usually filled with meat, potentially lamb. I do believe you could get cheese and different things in there as well. And this amazing like creamy yogurty tomato sauce. It was so delicious. There was a place right by our hotel in Cappadocia that we went probably every day that we were there. It's so delicious. Don't miss out on Monty. It's so good. And number 9 is more food. Look, when traveling, having good food is very important. So I do feel that 3 things about food on this list of 10 is justified. So you can't miss having an incredible Turkish breakfast. We were lucky enough to have hotels that served this both in Cappadocia and Bodrum, where we went next. It's a mix of cheeses, vegetables, olives, eggs, breads, fruit, meat. It's just a wide array of little bites of all super fresh, and I'm sure primarily local things. It is so delicious, and honestly it's such a perfect way to start your day. It's so well-rounded, everything is so good, and you can definitely do all the adventures and activities that you want to after having that breakfast. Okay, number 10 is all about Bodrum. So Bodrum is so beautiful. It's the perfect place to relax by the Aegean Sea, and one great place that you can go in Bodrum is the marina. It's a beautiful area where you can just walk around. There are boat tours that go out from there if that's something you're interested in. There's lots of shopping and restaurants and just places to hang out by the sea. By the time we arrived in Bodrum, it was the end of our long trip, and we like to plan for mostly relaxing by the end of the trip, and Bodrum was the absolute perfect place. And the marina really stands out to me because there was just so many options there. If we wanted a little adventure, if we wanted to find a cute little restaurant, that was the place to go. Now, a couple bonus tips or tidbits or whatever. Be sure to drink lots of Turkish coffee and try lots of Turkish delights. Now, I didn't include these in the main list because truthfully it would just be really hard to miss. They're everywhere. And this ties into what I wanted to talk about from the first destination with the mosques. When we got out of our taxi, there was a lot of locals just sort of hanging around waiting for obvious tourists to need a guide around the mosques, right? So this man approached us, and he was super great and super nice, and so we were like, yeah, please take us around. And we chatted the whole way. It was really pleasant. So one thing just to keep in mind is that what is likely going to happen if you find yourself in this situation is that the guide will, at the end of showing you around wherever you've asked them to show you, they will likely take you to a shop where the owners or the people there will want to sell you rugs. Or whatever else they have, but it's likely that it will be rugs. And so we knew that we were not going to be buying a rug. We were not in the market for that. But of course we wanted to be respectful of the time of the people at the shop, and of course the man who showed us around for the afternoon. So, we spent a little time while they gave us their spiel and showed us a bunch of different rugs. We made it very clear that we were not interested in a rug, but the shop also had, trinkets and snacks and all different types of things. So we decided to buy a nice box of Turkish delights, and it worked out great. We ended up just gifting that to somebody back home, and we also just tipped our guide a little bit of cash. So we were able to contribute what we felt was fair for the shop and our guide, and they also gave us Turkish coffee while we were there. So we just tried to be as appreciative and as honest as possible, and just very clear that we were not going to buy a rug. We were very, very sorry, but we did want to buy something and thank the guide for showing us around. Now, of course, you can negotiate this situation however you see fit. That's what we did, and that's what we felt good about, and I do feel that it is fair, and I do think that they know the majority of people who are not already trying to buy a rug are not likely to make a last-minute decision and get a big rug to be sent home. And finally, the last little bonus that I want to talk about is also to do with Bodrum, but specifically, I really just want to shout out the hotel that we stayed at. We stayed at the Edition, which is a Marriott property, and this place was unbelievably incredible. Props to everyone there. From the moment we arrived, the service was incredible. The property was absolutely stunning. We had an amazing view from our room. The restaurants at the hotel were wonderful. The spa was really nice. The deck where you could sit and tan by the sea and you could swim, and everything about this place was just absolutely beautiful. Ryan and I still talk about it to this day. If we ever go back to Bodrum, we know exactly where we're going to be staying. So I did just want to give that place a shout out, because if you're looking for somewhere, that place is just to die for. Well, there you have it. My top 10 things to see and do while traveling in Turkey. This trip is so special to me, being my first big international trip. I will never forget so many moments from this trip. Turkey is so special. It's so beautiful. There's so much to see there. And so I really wanted to share. If you're looking for anything to do that I didn't mention, or you want more specifics, please leave a comment below. If you have traveled through Turkey and you think there's something that I missed, please let me know. Either for some reason it just escaped me when making this list, or maybe I'll have to go back and experience it myself. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I have a lot more travel videos waiting to release to you guys, and I am so excited. I can't believe it's taken me over 2 months of having this channel to sit down and make these travel videos. This is definitely something that you can expect a lot more of, so please let me know if you like it. Please let me know what types of videos you would like to see, and I can't wait to chat with you, and safe travels. Why do I feel like I'm not recording? Why am I spinning? Okay, we're recording. We're recording. That would have been fun.